It is a quiet day across much of the country this Wednesday afternoon. We are getting some snow in the Great Lakes region, Minnesota and North Dakota, some outgoing showers around Miami and Fort Lauderdale, but most of the other parts of the country, we are looking pretty good. Heat advisories. In California, we haven't seen this in a while. We're talking the Los Angeles and San Diego area. There's the heat advisories, Orange County, the Inland Empire, and much of the Los Angeles basin, and surrounding it, a wind advisory. It's only midday as we record this, so these temperatures are going to get higher, but we've already got 88 degrees at Santa Ana and a offshore wind component. The surface map for today looking like this. Frontal system off the Carolinas, lots of showers and storms down to the Bahamas and down to Cuba. A strong Alberta clipper moving into the Midwest. However, temperatures back behind it, not really that cold, 20s and 30s. The leading edge of that cold air outbreak extending from about Fort Wayne to Tulsa and to Denver, but you can see there is not really much westward extent. So this is kind of a shallow air mass on the western periphery, and most of the momentum is moving towards the east. Out ahead of it, we have this transitional air mass. You might think that this is tropical, but if you take a look at the dew points, we see 20s and 30s. Dew point makes a very good tracer quantity, so we're talking about that number right there. And normally when it's down there in the teens, 20s and 30s, that indicates it has a polar origin. So this is a modifying polar air mass originating from Canada, and it's been sitting in this area for a few days. The true tropical air located out in this region here, and possibly down in Mexico. Remember, using dew point as a tracer, 67 right there, 64, that's going to be part of the tropical air mass, and it looks like there's been some modification along the periphery. The Pacific looking quiet this Wednesday afternoon. However, a very strong frontal system affecting southern Alaska, and the warm sector extending quite far north. Remember, it's mid-February. It's not normal to see temperatures in the 30s in southern Yukon. That's very warm conditions. And that's due to this strong southerly flow, atmospheric river moving into the southeastern Alaska region, across the Canadian Rockies, and a lot of overrunning coming into Northwest Territories and Yukon. Up to the north, we do have some Arctic air. Temperatures down to minus 44 along the north slope. And I did see, I think, another minus 44 out there near McGrath. So some very cold air. And if anything, with this westerly flow, that's going to move through the rest of Alaska. Very cold up in northern Canada. This is also Arctic air. Looks like that's moving south and feeding the back of that Great Lakes system. The Atlantic, very quiet this afternoon. Last week we had that look like a 920 millibar low, and that's out of the picture. However, Newfoundland and Labrador getting some wintry weather with this outgoing frontal system. Looking at the hemispheric upper air patterns, 300 millibars near the top of the troposphere, highly zonal pattern all the way from Saudi Arabia, China, across the Pacific. That's a very long fetch of straight flow. That tends to be dynamically unstable. And keep an eye on this area out along the leading edge. As we roll this forward, you're going to see it start to break up into a series of waves. We do have a strong P&A pattern across the Western Canadian region, helping to support these strong winds, but these waves start working on that region. So there's going to be impacts. One wave right there, another here, and possibly another here. This is going to be this weekend. And going into next week, we start to see some strong troughs moving into the western U.S. Now notice that the basic long wave configuration has not changed. We're still looking at a trough on the east coast and a ridge out west. And I know our California viewers are probably really tired of that. We are really stuck in this pattern, and you can see not really any change in the near future. So most of the weather is going to come from troughs, working their way through that long wave ridge, and the split flow pattern, which at times will strengthen the southern stream down by the Gulf. So there could be some chances of thunderstorms later in the month in the southern U.S. Record temperatures, yeah, we're expecting that. Even though it's going to be warm in Los Angeles, records will be set in Northern California, 80 degrees at Redding and 82 at Ukiah. It gets even warmer for tomorrow, coming up to 85 in Los Angeles, 89 at Burbank, and 80s all the way up north of Sacramento. More of the same for Friday, 75 in Sacramento, 89 again at Burbank. There is Saturday, and there is Sunday. Yep, I think we've got the proverbial broken record. Let's take the old satellite tour around the country. In the southwestern U.S., not much going on. We can see some northerly flow in the upper levels. That's cirrus moving through Flagstaff and the Tonopah area. Good to not see any smoke in Los Angeles with that weak Santa Ana flow, but it will be a warm day. There is a polar high covering the northwestern U.S., some cirrus moving through the flow with one of those troughs passing through the area, and we do see some snow cover on the ground in northern Nevada and the Snake River Valley. In the northwestern U.S., we get closer to that frontal system affecting southeastern Alaska, getting some rain up around Vancouver Island, but it does clear out as you go south. Pretty good amount of snow there around Moses Lake. Warm weather in western Montana, some snow showers as you get into that colder air mass to the east. There is a weak stationary front running about like that, and that does give us a little bit of downslope flow out west, whereas the flow out east is coming somewhat from the north. Getting closer to some of that snow there in Minnesota and North Dakota. It is kind of hard to distinguish what's going on, but right in this region here, we do see some of the terrain poking out. Let me pan that to the north. Yeah, you see that right there. You can see the ground. Not the case further east. That's going to be cloud cover. 30s and 40s in Nebraska and Kansas. Kind of a nice day. There's an old snow track from last week from Denver down to south of Colby, Kansas. More good weather in Oklahoma. And Texas, not looking bad, but I do see a fire breaking out. I guess that's around Livingston. Probably a good time to look at that drought monitor, and yeah, Texas is in a drought. Also much of the western U.S. California, looks like they've had a little bit of relief from all that precip in December and January, so they've backed off from the higher levels, but still they are behind schedule on that precip. Eastern U.S. looking pretty good, except for some isolated spots here and there. There's that departing weather system in Florida, a band of showers from the Bermuda Triangle area down to Miami and Homestead, and some dry, cooler air coming in its wake. And this is the pure tropical air. Many, many showers popping up in that region with the stronger flow aloft, shearing some of those cumulonimbus towers. There's the Midwest region, a little bit unsettled with that Great Lakes weather system looming to the north. A lot of snow on the ground in Ohio and Indiana. And working our way up the coast, a nice day in Virginia. And the Northeast looking pretty good. Some old snow on the ground, but temperatures rapidly coming up into the 30s and 40s. And that's what's happening around the U.S. Wednesday, February 9th. We'll see everybody back here on Friday. We'll check in on that heat in the western U.S. and see if there's any changes coming up for next week. Hope you have a great Wednesday evening. Take care, and we'll see you in a couple days. Bye-bye.